Hey, how you guys doing out here? This is your boy Mark. I'm still here at Anime NYC. You're wondering who's this gentleman standing next to me? Well, he's your teenage daughter's favorite wet dream.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, he's a ladies' man, number one in his field. I'm talking about the one and only Tony Oliver. How you doing, Tony?
Doing really good. Thanks a lot. Wow, that's an introduction. Oh man.
I never failed to introduce one of my favorite voice actors properly.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for that one.
Um, I know about you, but my audience, they don't know anything. Please give them a little bit of information about yourself.
Well, I'm a voice actor, and I have been since the '80s. I started in a show called Robotech a long time ago, and that led to me going behind the scenes and writing and producing. I was the development producer and head writer for the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for the first 3 seasons.
Oh, shucks, man. We're going to go there.
And then when I left there, anime was exploding, so I jumped in, and that's when Lupin came along, and Naruto, and all the other shows I get to do.
So, since you were there in the beginning of anime's acceptance in America, what was it like for you to work on Robotech back in the early '80s? Because I bought the box set where I see the stock footage where they will have Robotech conventions. They will have the models dressed up as the star of Robotech, Rick, right? Rick Hunter, right? Yeah. Like, did you ever get to go to any of those events?
Yeah, I actually got to go to a couple of them. There was one in Los Angeles. The first one I went to was in Los Angeles, and it was attached to the Star Trek conventions. So I expected to go in and have a group of like 30 kids, children. And when I was introduced and I walked into the panel room, there's 500 screaming college students losing their mind, and it was an overwhelming experience. I got through the panel. First time I ever experienced stage fright. It was really kind of funny because I'd never been in front of that many people without a script. I just had to be myself. So that was it was a different thing. Then they escorted me out and stick me at an autograph table, and I'm sitting next to James Doohan, Scotty from Star Trek. So the whole time I'm trying to be the cool actor signing autographs while not fanboying over the guy sitting next to me because I wanted to just fanboy and talk to him about Star Trek. So
Sure. You wanted to talk to him about Star Trek. I think you wanted to talk to him about Robotech.
well, but he didn't know Robotech and I knew Star Trek. So
Okay. So, how did you come up with the voice for Rick Hunter?
honestly, it was just my voice. My voice being a young person, so I was trying to be my version of a 17-year-old. And at the time, this was my first gig, my first real voice gig. So I really didn't have any versatility yet. I didn't know how to manipulate my voice. So it was what you're hearing here, just a little higher because I was young, you know.
Gotcha. I really loved the love triangle that you're in with Rick Hunter, Lin Min May. I forgot the older woman he ends up marrying. What's her name again? Lisa. Like, I couldn't stand Lin Min May because I had a girlfriend that behaved exactly like her. She was so damn annoying. So much to the point I had to kick her to the curb. And the funny thing was, she sent one of her friends to harass me. Her friend was impersonating a real lawyer, and I had to squash that whole situation immediately.
Well, that's different. I didn't take it that seriously, but no, it was. I kind of had the same opinion of Min May in terms of. I thought that he was bad. She was bad for Rick, and he needed to find. And the fact that when he got together with Lisa, I thought that was a good thing for Rick. I'm not sure it was great for the story, but it was good for Rick.
Well, I think it was both good for Rick and the story because Lisa was more mature and she was more stable in her mentality, her mind, versus Lin Min May. She was all over the damn place.
Yes.
And she was acting like she was a spoiled little brat, which was annoying.
Yes. Well, I thought so too, but I couldn't say so back then.
Oh, I know. I mean, she kept giving Rick blue balls every damn time he saw her.
Okay.
I mean, I would be frustrated too if I was meeting with a very beautiful woman and she wasn't trying to put out.
Well, I guess so. Yes.
So you said you started working on the first 3 seasons of the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. What was that like for you to work with Saban and Shuki Levy?
Well, so I'd been working for Saban for a few years at that point, so I was just part of the development team. It was my turn, so I got lucky and got to be the guy to do it. Shuki came into the picture a little bit later after we'd already did the pilot and stuff like that because he had actually left the company for a little while. He was just taking a break after many years of producing a lot of stuff. And so it was working with Saban was great. I got a lot of support there. It was a tough place to work because a lot was expected.
Oh, yeah, because I found out there was an unaired pilot online where there was Mark DeCassos, Miguel Nunez as some of the original Power Rangers. Like, they were originally called Galaxy Rangers, but they couldn't use that because that was used by another property.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I've never seen or heard of any of that.
Yeah, Mark Dacascos, like there was a promotional video they made for Power Rangers, but they called it Galaxy Rangers.
The only one that I know of was a pilot for a version of Rangers based on Ultraman, and I did see that one. In fact, I used when I put together Power Rangers, I used the character relationships from that pilot and just plopped them in. The only thing we did is change one name and kept that stuff, but maybe that's the same thing.
Well, no, I know the first original pilot. I mean, the raw original pilot, I should say, is that when they came out, you had Zach, Trini, and what's it? Oh, Zordon was called Zoltar or something.
That was we never got there. In the pilot, we changed all that before we finished the pilot. So Zoltar was the original name. They were also going to be Megazoids and that stuff. But the problem was that Zoltar was owned by the movie Big, and Zoids was owned by Lucasfilms.
Oh, I thought it was owned by Takara Tokomi because there is a anime property out there called Zoids.
Yeah, well, that predates that. But the terms, anything with a Zoid attached to it was being claimed by Lucasfilms at the time, and we just didn't want to fight that.
Gotcha. I also was told that you're the voice of Saba, the White Ranger sword. So please tell us a little bit about like how did you create the voice for Saba and like what was his characteristics?
Well, he was a short-term character, so we didn't want to spend too much time. And there was an actor named Ted Lehman who played Exodore on Robotech. And I wanted him to play Saba. And so I went looking for him, but he had retired and moved to Kentucky to take care of his mother. And so I was talking to the casting, the producers, and well, they said, well, what does he sound like? So I did my version of Ted Lehman. And they went, that's great, you're an actor, you do it. And that's really how I got the part. And it's me imitating Ted Lehman being a nice British person, and that was it.
Gotcha. Are you working on anything currently right now?
Yeah, I'm working on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I'm directing that. I direct mostly these days. So I'm voice directing that. I think I can talk about this. Yeah. The new Lupin. Well, no, you're not the one that gets to say so. The production companies do. Lupin the Third, the sixth season. We just got done dubbing the first season, which has never been dubbed of Lupin the Third. Wow. And I direct Beyblade for Disney XD. So that's what I'm doing.
Oh, you work for the mouse. Okay, I respect that.
I put shows on the mouse. I don't work for the mouse. I've worked for the mouse once or twice, and they can be tough to work for.
Well, the mouse has very high standards.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, because I've heard the stories, and I know they're all true.
Look, as a consumer, Disney is my favorite. As a producer, it's hard and necessarily so.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Tony, I want to say thank you so much for being here. I didn't know you were going to be here at all because, COVID, people may show up, people may not show up. Thank you really for being here, man. Thank you for being on Robotech. What's going on with the Robotech property now with Harmony Gold?
I have no idea. I'm an actor. I'm the last guy to know. Last I heard, they were waiting for Sony to make up their mind as to whether they were going to actually make the live-action feature so they could decide whether to continue on Shadow Chronicles or not. But that's second and third-hand information. So.
Gotcha. Well, if they do make a live-action, would they make it most likely a live-action international cast or like all Japanese cast?
I don't know. You'd have to ask them. The producer they put on it was the guy that did 300. Okay. So chances are it'd be an international cast.
All right. Well, you heard from Rick Hunter himself, a.k.a. Tony Oliver. Tony, thank you so much for being here. Truly is a blessing to have you on my show. And guys, I got more wonderful guests like him coming up the pipeline. Thank you, Tony.
See you later, guys.
Bye-bye.